Dirtle Magic. Thank you for tuning in to Dirtle Magic. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell if you like the content you see here today, and leave a like and share the video with someone you might think is interested. Leaving those likes really helps us out, but another way to help us out is by using our TCG Player affiliate link below. If you're looking for singles, sealed product, or gaming accessories, please consider using our link to support the channel. We also have some playmats at inkgaming.com. Go ahead and hit the link in the description to check those out. Alright, let's grab some spells and dirtle with some magic. Hello and welcome back to Dirtle Magic. Today we're playing some more Feather the Redeemed. Looking at our opening hand, it has absolutely 100% no land, so we will be taking that free mulligan. Our commander in the meantime is red, white, white for a legendary creature Angel 3/4 flying. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, exile that card instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves. If you do, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. Let's go ahead and take that mulligan. New hand. We do have some defenses, a board wipe, and some removal. More notably, we also have 4 lands, which is fantastic. Get feathered down, hopefully draw into some other stuff, including some card draw, which would be great. Yeah, I think we can keep this. Our first opponent is Grenzo Havoc Raiser. Red for a legendary 2/2 Goblin Rogue. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, choose one. Go target creature that player controls. Exile a top card of that player's library until end of turn. You may cast that card and spend mana as though or any color to cast it. They are using Faithless Looting. They discard Imperial Recruiter and Unstable Obelisk. Okay. I do love Imperial Recruiter. I don't usually use it though. I tend not to use tutors. Comes our turn, Mirrorwing Dragon will be great later. Let's get down a Sacred Foundry tapped and pass it off. Our next opponent, with an island into play, is Moritte of the Frost. They're also playing Universal Automaton with Changeling. 2 green/blue for an 0/0 creature, legendary snow creature Shapeshifter. Changeling, this card is every creature type. You may have Moritte of the Frost enter the battlefield as a copy of a permanent you control except as legendary and snow in addition to its other type, and if it's a creature, it enters play with 2 1/1 counters on it, and as Changeling. Now, Moritte of the Frost is not a deck I've seen before, so this should be interesting. I imagine it's going to be changing tribal with some cloning effects, perhaps. Our last opponent, with a Crozen Verge into play, is Cromat. Wooburg for a legendary 5/5 creature illusion. White and black destroy target creature blocking or blocked by Cromat. Blue-red, it gains flying till end of turn. Black-green, regenerate it. Red-white, it gets 1/1 till end of turn. And green-blue, put Cromat on top of its owner's library. Don't underestimate that last ability. Over to Grenzo, we have Dragon Fodder coming down. 2 goblins into play. I had a Cromat deck once. It was disbanded because of the win I got out with it with Door to Nothingness, but a tale for another time. Comes to our turn, we get Godo Bandit Warlord. That works for me. Let's go ahead and play the Pathway, but let's play Pillar Verge to get that double white going, and we'll pass off the turn. So Godo is in here only and specifically for Helm of the Host. We do need backup combos because sometimes Feather just gets exiled forever. Moritte of the Frost, they play Unclaimed Territory. Shapeshifter is the card of choice that they choose. So let's see, they get to spend 1 mana of any color to cast creature spells of the chosen type. So no scry there, that's Path of Ancestry. I wonder if they'll have that in the deck as well. 2 Cromat's turn. Interestingly, Shapeshifters, rather, aren't always Changeling. So I wonder what else they could have. I believe Volrath is a Shapeshifter, if I'm not mistaken. Savage lands into play for Cromat. Back over to Grenzo. They have 2 goblins on the battlefield, play land, maybe more goblins? Oh, it's their commander, Grenzo Havoc Raiser. We have an attack. Both of them off into us. That's unfortunate. Nothing to do about it though. Let's see what they get off our deck. Hopefully not any of the we get to draw card cantrips. We go down to 38. Grenzo triggers twice. Orm's Thunder. Okay. So these will just stay basically exiled and then a mountain. Because they don't have mana to cast anything, so that's too bad about Orm's Thunder. It's one of the few pieces of artifact enchantment removal we have. Over to our turn, we get a mountain. Let's go ahead and play said mountain. And we could play Feather. We do have more mana to cast her later if she gets nuked right now. We don't have any protection for her regardless. I think we're just going to pass it. We have no protection, no card draw available. Keep up the removal and nuke something if we have to. Over to Moritte of the Frost. We have Cytoplasm. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may have it become a copy of another target creature. It retains this ability, however. So just as note, this is a Shapeshifter, but it does not have Changeling. Over to Cromat, Command Tower into play. Crozen Verge gets the crack. So they can get a Plains card and a Forest card. Keep in mind, of course, those can be the dual type of lands. We have Savannah and Breeding Pool into play. Over to Grenzo's turn. Looks like they're going straight to combat. Let's see if they hit us again. Getting rid of our spells isn't the worst thing in the world. We do have a lot of them, so there's some redundancy built into the deck. Yep, looks like we're taking some gobos again. Grenzo is going off into the Cromat player. Interesting. They did leave mana up this time in case they want to cast something. We go down to 36. Cromat down to 38, up to 2 commander damage. Grenzo triggers. Fantatog. My god, I haven't seen a Tog in forever. A mountain gets exiled for us, followed by Inferno Titan. That's unfortunate. Not the worst in the world, though. So what does Fantatog do? 1 white, blue, 1/2. Sacrifice an enchantment, gets 1/1 tone to turn. Discard a card, gets 1/1 tone to turn. Okay, interesting. Lightning Greaves coming down in the second main for Grenzo. Comes our turn, we get Mother of Runes. Nice. Let's play a Plains. So we could play Feather here, or we could play Mother of Runes and wait a turn, keep up Path to Exile. Could potentially also keep up Selfless Squire. We do have some Blink in the deck. Otherwise, we can play Feather, keep up Path to Exile. If she tries to get removed, it helps us ramp. We get the path back, and since she's going to be dying anyway, she'll just cost that 5 again. So I think that's what I'm going to do here, because we need to start building up some defenses against Grenzo. They can't be exiling everything we have. Feather the Redeemed to the battlefield. Pass it off. Long-term plans, it is a straight-up tutor. However, you put the card in your library third from the top. They do not have to reveal because it never goes into a public space. Alright, no attacks out of the Moritte of the Frost. Their Feather, Cytoplasm, does not attack, so that's nice. Long-term plans does scare me a little bit, though. Sanctum of All. Okay, so it's a Sanctum deck. Love the art on that card. Wish it had a little bit more contrast, but art, you know, it's in the eye of the beholder. That also explains the Fantatog with the enchantment destruction. Interesting. Interesting indeed. I really want to see this Cromat deck now. We are over to Grenzo, by the way. There's a mountain into play. Let's see where they go to attack. I imagine they'll be sending the goblins that are still will eat one. Grenzo over to Cromat, perhaps? Yep. Exactly what's happening. So we will block a goblin. We have 2 triggers. 1 goblin bites the dust. Oh, okay. They goaded our creature this time. That's unfortunate. That's fine. Off the top, they got Island for Cromat. Hordeling Outburst, more gobos. Comes our turn, we get Monastery Mentor. That'll be very good if we can get a instant to cast that doesn't exile our creatures. That's unfortunate. Although if we can get 1 creature off Monastery Mentor token, we can start ramping with Path to Exile. Could be pretty good. Let's play a mountain. I do want to leave mana up for other stuff. Let's just play the Mother of Runes for now. Get her able to untap things. That way we can get pro-red away from the Grenzo. We do have to attack someone else, though. So we are going to attack off into the Moritte player. They can just block with their own feather and nothing should happen to us. Oh, they do not block. They take the 3. Down to 37, up to 3 commander. Cytoplasm triggers. It'll become a copy of the Mother of Runes. I don't often see the Giver and Mother of Runes in feather lists. I like the fact that you can put them on the battlefield and have that free protection without spending mana. But that's just me. Protection, I guess, doesn't jive with you casting spells and targeting your creatures. But I play a more conservative playstyle, so if I have to wait a turn to destroy my opponent or get rid of them or possibly make a deal, I'm usually okay with that. Moritte of the Frost coming down. What will it copy? It's a legendary Mother of Runes that also happens to be a snow creature and is beefier at a 3/3. Over to Cromat's turn, Sanctum of All will trigger. It says, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may search your library or graveyard for a shrine card and put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. If an ability of another shrine you control triggers when you control 6 or more shrines, that ability triggers an additional time. It's very akin to a Super Friends deck, as you get extra abilities on your upkeep at the beginning of the first main phase, depending on which shrines they are. Other than that, they're harder to destroy because you can't just attack them. So I find it kind of like a weird, almost equal thing to Super Friends, but less threatening because they're not planeswalkers, but harder to interact with because they're enchantments. I don't know. You can let me know what you think about the Sanctum of All in the comments. The Sanctum they did get, though, is Sanctum of Fruitful Harvest. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, add X mana of any one color to your mana pool, where X is the number of shrines you control. Idyllic Tutor. It searches their library for an enchantment. They do have to reveal what it was, so let's go take a look. It's Ghostly Prison. That'll protect them from the goblins. Unfortunately, our board wipe doesn't do anything for the goblins, because it's Fell the Mighty. So we need something with a 0 power at this point. They do play the Ghostly Prison. Rupture Spire into play. They'll have to pay 1 or it's sacrificed. They do. Over to Grenzo's turn. Oh, these are some of my favorite goblin arts, because they're like goblin yetis. Anyway, getting off the sidetrack, we do have Selfless Squire up for defense, so if they swing everything at us, we can prevent and negate all of their triggers. Hopefully that will work for us. Alright, so we are just taking Grenzo. So I think at that rate, Mother of Runes, tap to add protection from red to her. Save the Selfless Squire just in case. Oops. Been a long turn. Forgot she still had summoning sickness. That's my mistake. Unfortunate misplay. Mother of Runes goes down. I thought we already went around the turn once, but I guess not. We do have one goad trigger. It'll be the Mother of Runes that is Moritte of the Frost. Moritte of the Frost player down to 36, up to 3 commander damage. We did not take any damage, thankfully. Second main phase, we have Grenzo Mob Boss. That seems like a good path to exile target. Comes our turn, we get Boros Charm. So what we could do here is Fell the Mighty on the Goblin token, and that would get rid of Grenzo, Grenzo, and Moritte of the Frost. It would also get rid of Feather, however. Or we could do Monastery Mentor and Path the Grenzo. I'd rather put Path on one of our tokens though, so I think we'll leave up Boros Charm just in case of things, and see how things go that way, just to get that token down first. Grenzo activating once, however, could be really bad. Let's see if somebody else has removal though. And we'll pass the turn there. Mana up for the Path, mana up for the Boros Charm, and just see how things go, really. We have a couple of triggers. Moritte of the Frost will trigger, Cytoplasm will trigger. Moritte is a copy of the Cytoplasm, and that's why it's triggering. It'll also become anything it wants to be. A Grenzo it is. That's unfortunate. We have a Shifting Sliver. Did not expect that to happen. Let's see, slivers can't be blocked by slivers. Okay. We're making some goblins with the clone Grenzo over here. No attacks out of the Moritte player. Off to Cromat. Unfortunately, we don't carry a lot of enchantment removal in the deck, so this is going to be bad for us. Grenzo probably doesn't have much. Moritte might have some, but it doesn't look like they're going to be drawing any. So, bad times. This shrine this time is Sanctum of Stone Fangs. 1 black at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase. Each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life for X of the number of shrines you control. That probably makes them target number 1. I was just thinking about how we might need to take down Cromat first, just to get those shrines off the battlefield. We have a couple of triggers. They get X mana, X equal to shrines, and we lose X life, X equal to shrines. Odin of Seeing wins. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card for each shrine you control. Uh-oh. Hinterland Harbor into play, getting tapped down for some mana. We have Cromat itself gracing the battlefield. Luckily they're tapped out of mana, so we don't have to worry about flying this turn. Over to Grenzo's turn, Ancient Tomb into play. They do have 6 mana now, that's good for casting lots of stuff. Hopefully not going to be swinging anything at us, but we'll see how things go. Frenzied Goblin, whenever it attacks, they may pay red. If you do, target creature can't block this turn. Does not have haste though, but that will be a good way to get rid of Cromat on the blocks. Goblin Trashmaster. Okay, I was waiting for an Anthem. They can sacrifice a Goblin to destroy target artifact, so they can possibly sacrifice the Trashmaster in response to the Fell of the Mighty. Not my favorite. They get 5 Gobbos. Lightning Greaves being equipped to the Trashmaster. No attacks out Grenzo this turn. Alright, rolls over to us. We get Otherworldly Journey. Could be good. It's a blink. We have no ETBs really besides Godo, and Godo would cost 6 mana and we only have 5. Let's go ahead and pass it off. Might do a Mirrorwing Dragon and potentially do Otherworldly Journey on it if we can get some mana going here. That way we can get rid of basically all of the tokens. Wouldn't get rid of the Trashmaster, but that's fine. It would just come back into play with a counter on it anyway. We have a number of triggers from the Spell Shaper deck. Let's see what they'll become copies of, if anything. Mother of Runes stays the same. And Grenzo stays the same. Mirror Gallery, their legend rule doesn't apply. Oh, there you go. No attacks out Moritte. Over to Cromat. Unfortunately, they get to get another shrine. I'm hoping the Grenzo player starts wailing on them very, very hard. Unfortunately, they can't with the Ghostly Prison in play, and we are not drawing removal for it, or any of our cantrip spells, which is, you know, detrimental to a feather deck. We have a new shrine. Odin of Life's Web. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 color spirit creature token for each shrine you control, so there's some extra defense. To the first main phase. They get some mana, we lose some life. Revel in riches. Follow that up with a board wipe and we got a problem. Cultivate coming out of Cromat, so not a board wipe yet. A swamp and a forest. Let's see which one goes into play. It's a swamp. Yavimaya Elder. That's some more ramp when it dies. That was it for Cromat. Over to Grenzo. They'll have to find a way to take care of that ghostly prison if they ever want to attack Cromat. And I don't think they're going to do that unless they exile one from either us or Moritte of the Frost. So I'm expecting a large attack possibly. Flashing a Selfless Squire to defend ourselves. Could be pretty good. Other than that, I do want to play Otherworldly Journey and Borrow's Charm just to get some tokens going. Lightning Greaves is being switched back to Grenzo. Yavimaya Elder is being sacrificed. They'll go get some lands and draw a card. We have an attack. Alright, not all of it into us. One is into Cromat. They'll have to pay the 2 and the red, though, if they want both the ability on this creature here and to hit Cromat at all. Looks like they are paying the 2, taking 2 damage with the Ancient Tomb. Frenzied Goblin does the triggering. Will they pay the red? It looks like they're going to initially. Yep, there it is. So Cromat will be unable to block. And then we will go ahead and flash in our Selfless Squire. Alright, it'll prevent all damage that'll be dealt to us this turn. Cromat's still going to get hit for 2, but our Selfless Squire is going to get quite large. We will choose not to block. It will be unnecessary. We have a couple of triggers. The Frenzied Goblin does make a connection to Cromat. They're down to 42. Selfless Squire will trigger and prevent all the damage dealt to us. Our Selfless Squire is a 13/13. That could be very good later. Borrow's Charm gives double strike. If Cromat can't attack the opponent, we can wait for them to tap something down, but we are still a bit short on that mana. We have Faithless Looting on flashback out of the Grenzo player's second main. Mountain into play. Krenko being activated in the second main. That's going to be a lot of goblins. Comes our turn, we get a Rugged Prairie. I will take any land at the moment. Let's go to Wombats. I think we'll swing the Selfless Squire into the Cromat player. Let's take a swing. We will have to pay the 2 to declare the attacker. They are going to block it, that's fine. However, they are probably going to make it destroy the creature it's blocking. So what do we do about that? We could play Borrow's Charm to make it indestructible. Cromat goes down. Yeah, they had no mana for it, my mistake. But that works for me. Okay, let's see. What can we do here? I think we're just going to pass it off. We still need to get up some tokens to do some ramping, but Borrow's Charm is better on the defense and so is Otherworldly Journey. End of turn, we have a Krenko activation, but from Moritte of the Frost. They will get 2 additional Goblin tokens. Cytoplasm triggers again. Let's see if they switch it up. They do. Mother of Runes becomes another Krenko, and they don't kill each other because of the Mirror Gallery effect. Now that is a universal effect. It'll apply to any of us. Elvish Mystic coming down after a forest. Over to Cromat, we have a number of shrines triggering. Sanctum of All will allow them to go get something out of their deck. Then they'll also draw a bunch of cards and make a bunch of colorless creature tokens that are spirits. Things getting out of hand. The problem is I don't want to have to deal with Grenzo's goblin army after the fact, so I'm stuck in a rock and a hard place here. If we get drawn to one of our other mass board wipes like Blasphemous Act, that would be nice. Terminus. All the creatures go on the bottom. Well, that doesn't help out with the Borrow's Charm at all. We could recast Feather, we could save Feather with the Otherworldly Journey. Selfless Squire isn't worth saving if it doesn't have the counters to really slam into Cromat, so I guess we're saving Feather here. Otherworldly Journey, let's go. Got a couple of triggers here. It'll come back to our hand if it resolves. Then we get a Prowess token from the Monastery Mentor. Unfortunately, that's not going to do us much right now. We could path it, because if I imagine Grenzo doesn't have anything to do with this, so we'll path it, go ahead and get the path back, get some land out of the deck at least. Oh, and Grenzo quits the game. That's unfortunate. I needed them to pressure Cromat. However, I guess that means we can just focus on Cromat in its entirety. Let's go ahead and play Path to Exile on our Monk token. We have a bunch more triggers. We got another Monk. Feather will trigger for the Path to Exile. Path to Exile will trigger. We'll use its ability. We'll get a Plains. Feather triggers for the Otherworldly Journey. She'll get exiled until the beginning of the next end step. We will not put her in the command zone, otherwise she won't come back thanks to the Otherworldly Journey. And Terminus does its thing. We'll put them on the bomb in any order. unfortunately for us. We do still have Godo, though. We still have a path to victory if we can get rid of that ghostly prison anyway. Otherwise, this might be a hard slog through Tron Town. On the bright side, Terminus does not destroy, therefore the Revel in Riches is not doing much for him at the moment. More triggers. The Sanctum of Stone Fangs, however, triggering twice is going to drain us pretty quick. We may have 2-3 turns left at this. And we don't have any of our haste enablers, unfortunately. Oh yeah, we are down to 15. Maybe only one more turn. Moritte of the Frost down to 16. Still 3 commander damage. The Cromat player up to 54. Paradox Haze. Oh no. So this is like the only enchantment that I'm aware of that does this. Basically, they get an extra upkeep, which means all their upkeep shrines are going to trigger yet again, which means there'll be 4 of them. Frontier Guide coming down. So it looks like it's a shrine deck with just a lot of ramp in it. I do like Cromat at the front over something like Sisay. It makes it seem a bit more fair, and I do have a bias for Cromat just because I think it's a weird-looking creature that I like. You know, let me know in the comments if you think Cromat's a good fit for the Shrines deck. Looks like it's working out fine, although our deck is ill-equipped to take down this many enchantments, that's for sure. Cromat coming back down for that player. They have 1 mana left over, so they can't give it Flying to block Feather the next turn. Our Feather will come back at end of turn, though, essentially giving it pseudo-haste. Oh, and then we have Enlightened Tutor. Alright, they will have to reveal it because it is a specific kind of card. We have Privileged Position. Other permanents you control have hexproof. Well, that's going to be a pain in the butt. We have some triggers, let's go ahead and do it. Feather comes back, then we'll get back Path, and we will get back our Otherworldly Journey. There we go. To the cleanup, Cromat does have to discard 4 cards. Let's see what they are. We get Temple of Triumph on our turn. Let's see, a Forest, and Terramorphic Expanse, so nothing much lost there. Let's go ahead and play Temple on our turn. Scry 1, see what we have. Mountain is not what we need. Let's go to attacks, I suppose. Double Strike Feather and see what we can do with it. We'll pay the 2 to attack. And then we'll cast Boros Charm with Double Strike. Damage is good. They're down to 46, up to 8 commander, and we'll pass it off there. Unfortunately, I don't think we have another 2 turns to get rid of our opponent. Well, that's too bad. Boros Charm will come back to our hand. Over to Moritte of the Frost. Would not mind seeing a Psych Rift. Moritte of the Frost coming back down. It's a copy of Mirror Gallery. That's interesting. Okay. Alright, and here we go. I do not think we are going to get out of this one. Oh, they also have a Hoden of Night's Reach. I believe this is discard? Yep. So we basically get to save Otherworldly Journey. Not much more there. We could also path Cromat, I guess, so that's a thing. So we could also save Boros Charm. I don't think we're going to survive, but sure, let's go ahead and do it. At least it gives us a better chance at victory than just blinking our commander. Alright, and let's let him go to it. Unfortunately, we'll have to discard the rest of our hand. They'll draw a bunch of cards, gain a bunch of defenders. And we potentially take lethal here from the Sanctum of Stone Fangs, especially if they attack us, because they're going to have a lot of shrines. Oh, and they do get Shrine of, what is this, Infinite Rage? Oh, hold on, we do have to discard a card. Let's go ahead and discard some cards. All of them, unfortunately. Alright, so Hoden of Infinite Rage. Beginning of your upkeep, it deals damage to any target equal to the number of shrines you control. Pretty good when you got 8 of them on the battlefield. Here we go again, another upkeep. Well, there goes Feather, that's unfortunate. They could also just burn and punt, it does say any target. They could potentially just nuke us out of existence and not waste the removal on Feather. So that's something. Or just get rid of Moritte. Alright, one of each of the Hoden of Infinite Rage triggers going to each player. We have already discarded all of our cards, so has Moritte of the Frost. Other than that, they will get yet another Sanctum, and Sanctum of Stone Fang should be able to get rid of us on the first main phase, rather. Do the first main phase. The Sanctum of Stone Fangs and the Sanctum of Fruitful Harvest do the triggering. We have 30 spirits on the battlefield in addition to the original 6. That's pretty good. Alright, yeah, we die on the trigger, so is Moritte. I'll give it up to the Cromat player, sure, why not. It was a Sanctum deck. I do like Cromat though, a little bit biased there. Good game to our opponent. Unfortunately, Feather is just not well equipped to take down that many enchantments. Grenzo wasn't going to be any help in that regard, and not because I think they're a bad player or anything, but because they're playing mono red, and as you know, mono red is very bad at getting rid of enchantments. Moritte maybe had some removal, but I did host the game, I do say casual, and sometimes you get decks that are more on theme than not. So no hard feelings to Moritte, but they and we had a better chance of getting rid of these enchantments, and unfortunately, based on how our decks, I think they were structured, just it wasn't happening. So something to look forward to in getting Feather up to par for Game 3, perhaps. There it is, 4 points off into the winner, 1 point off over into the Grenzo player. That's fine. Overall, it was an okay game. We did not get any cantrips, though. Let's go take a look at the deck and see what can be done to shore up some of the weaknesses. Okay, here's the deck. Ironically, I just added Return to Dust. So, yep, didn't draw that. We also had Godo for a long time. I just couldn't get any ramp going with the Path to Exile, although I did make a misplay with the Mother of Runes, which really kind of screwed up that line of play for a couple turns. Other than that, we do have the various cantrips. I think we have about 8 or 9 in the deck. So I'm not really too worried about getting one necessarily. It's just we need to get that initial one to get going with Feather. So I think maybe we should consider Impulsive Draw on the deck. And as this goes along, if you are building Feather, look to the new sets to see what kind of draw White gets. Other than Return to Dust, I didn't really make any real changes to the deck. I did add Long Road Home and Otherworldly Journey. They're good for dodging specific kinds of removal like mass board wipes. They're not as good for ETBs if you need them back immediately. We had Godo in hand. If we needed to tour out some other equipment like Sunforger, we couldn't just blink him in and out and get it and equip it and do some shenanigans because these blinks are slower. They do it at the end of turn, like I said. Unfortunately, we also didn't get to keep our Selfless Squire. Had we been able to keep that and give it double strike, maybe we might have turned the tables on Cromat, but they had the answer in the removal, so just didn't happen there. So for the deck for the third video, I do think I want to try some Impulsive Draw, or at least some other digging kind of effect like rummaging or looting, just in case. I don't think we really need that though, so I'm going to hold off on it, but maybe in the future. We definitely need some more artifact enchantment removal. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of that says, hey, it also targets something of yours, so why don't you do that? We do have Dowager Hedge Mage, which is probably the best thing in the deck. Especially if you can blink it, you just keep destroying people's stuff. Unfortunately, we didn't get that, so not much to do there. We did have Mirrorwing Dragon 2, we just didn't have really a lot of lines of play because Monastery Mentor got down a bit late, and making the tokens off of that can be a little bit slower. But Feather is a unique Boros commander, still is even with Lorehold coming out, and it does have very specific weaknesses. You need Feather for the deck to run more efficiently, and that's usually not a problem because she can't be protected so well. Anyway, I will work on the deck, definitely try to work in some more enchantment and artifact removal, maybe even just some more removal in general. Feather decks tend to be a bit light on that because they want to target their own stuff. If you saw any cards you want for your own deck or deck, maybe you want to build a Shrine Cromat deck and just troll your opponents. If you saw that stuff and you liked it, go ahead and consider using the TCG Player affiliate link in the description below if you want that stuff in paper, sealed product, or sleeves to protect all that stuff. It helps out the channel, doesn't cost you anything extra. On to the third game of Feather, hopefully going to be a little bit more productive, and I'll see you then. Stay safe.